What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Jr. watching a Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. I checked out Hellboy. I'm talking about the 2019 reboot directed by Neil Marshall. And let's talk about it. But before I talk about it, I gotta talk about how I feel about this reboot. First of all, I felt that they totally should have made a third film to conclude Guillermo del Toro's trilogy. I mean, he directed the first one, which is a good film. The second one was even a better film. And then I felt that if he made a third one, it would have been even more awesome. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and so studios decided to reboot it, and this time give it an R rating. They casted David Harbour as Hellboy, and I think that's actually a really good choice. If they did one thing right in this film, it's casting David Harbour as Hellboy, because I think he really pulled it off. But this film as a whole kind of fails, and it kind of lacks, and I'll tell you what it's lacking in. First of all, they decided to make it an R-rated film, which I don't have a really problem with as an R-rated film, but as an R-rated film, I really thought that they just made it an R-rated film just for the sake of making it an R-rated film. It really doesn't serve any purpose that helps the movie except to make it more gratuitous. And what I mean by that is it's just bloody violence for the sake of bloody violence. I mean, if you took out the bloody violence and all that grotesque imagery, it's still the same movie, and it's not a great movie. It really isn't. I really wanted to like this film. I wanted I was hoping to have a good time, and you know, and for the most part, it's just a piece of entertainment, but it's a really, really mindless ride, and it really shouldn't be, because actually what's great about Hellboy 1 and 2 is that they had it had heart and soul. And there were personal connections being made. There was like the emotional aspect of the film. There was actual emotional stakes there. This one just feels like, okay, it's another Hellboy adventure. We got all the emotional stuff out of the way. This is just another Hellboy adventure. He's just there. He's there because he exists. That's all it is. And then he's just fighting things like giants and demons and whatever, right? And he's just there. And that's all it is. There's not a whole lot of heart, soul, or any kind of personal connection to any characters. There's nothing like that. And then they decided to put all this kind of like disturbing and gross or like, you know, grotesque imagery for the sake of it being there. And then it's just there. Like, they don't follow up on anything. Like, there's no consequences to any of the things that happen. It's just there. And it really makes for a very empty movie experience. Like, you go in to watch the film, and suddenly I come out of the theater feeling quite really empty, feeling like that it was not memorable at all. The only thing that I thought was kind of cool was the fight with the giants. But in terms of level of violence having no consequences, like, Hellboy can get like attacked on all sides and brutally injured, but then he's like, has no problem whatsoever. He's like fine. And yeah, it just doesn't really work. It's not a good film, unfortunately. But I mean, if you're a Hellboy fan and you really, really want to check out this film, go check it out. But actually, you could just skip it. I'm gonna be generous here. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. They put in a decent effort. David Harbour was solid, actually. I think he was really solid in this. He put on a good performance. He fits the part. He looks the part. But there's no heart there. I mean, that's all comes down to the writer. You know, the writer of this, you know, the creative team behind this. They didn't give enough substance to the character. They just put him in there, and then he's just fighting, and then it just leaves you kind of empty inside after watching the movie. But it is what it is. We're not going to see a Hellboy film for a very, very long time, and I think that's what they need to do, or just retire that altogether. There really doesn't need to be another one. I think it's done. And there you have it. I mean, Hellboy shouldn't only just be about stylish fight sequences. It shouldn't be about that. There's way more depth to the character. And we didn't really get any of that. None of that was explored whatsoever in this film at all. Anyways, there you have it. 4 out of 10. As always, if you enjoyed this review, you want to see more, make sure hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.